Councillor Hogg. Councillor Hogg.
Mr Mayor, far be it from me to turn down a chance to talk about housing or planning, but is it time for the COVID break, or would you like me to...
No, we're going to finish this debate and then we'll take the COVID break. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Mr Mayor. I'd like to say a few words about Wandsworth Labour's new approach to planning and to housing. We all know Wandsworth is an awesome place to live. You know, its strong, diverse communities represent the best of modern Britain. And we do recognise the benefits of development. The new homes, the better jobs, the better public buildings. But there is a clear feeling now, and I can't believe Councillor Humphries hasn't picked up on this, that inappropriate development has gone too far in Wandsworth. It's out of balance. Luxury tower blocks are springing up against public opinion, new developments that offer little for local people, and families being priced out. And there are serious challenges we must face. 1/3 of local residents now rent privately, and many pay more than half of their take-home pay in rent. And young professional couples on 2 good salaries unable to buy a home. Expensive and insecure private renting is driving a homelessness crisis. On Christmas morning, 3,300 homeless children will wake up in Wandsworth Council temporary accommodation. And we could do so much better. So what is the Labour plan? Our number 1 priority is the sustainable delivery of genuinely affordable homes for local people. And at its heart, this is about the right values. We'll create thriving communities without creating that imbalance or division. Forget trying to create Dubai on Thames for the benefit of overseas investors. I mean, residents were astonished this summer by the sky pool spanning 2 luxury towers in Nine Elms, as potent a symbol as you could imagine of Wandsworth Tories having the wrong values and heading in the wrong direction. Because down the road from the sky pool, a fantastic new public swimming pool, planned for the most deprived estate in our borough, was delayed. And Wandsworth Council agreed to delay its completion by at least 4 years to help out a property developer. It's completely unacceptable. And the sky pool is in Nine Elms, where a staggering 85% of the first 800 homes were sold to overseas buyers, about half of those from high corruption risk jurisdictions. I mean, do you know any local family that's actually moved into the Battersea Power Station site? So what will Labour change? Well, to deliver results, our planning system has to be transparent, it has to be honest, and it has to listen to the voices of local people. You should be able to see the decisions that affect your life being made. All planning application committee meetings will continue to be broadcast live online. Deals made with developers...
Intervention, Mr Mayor.
Deals made with developers should be public.
Please, may I make an intervention?
Deals made with developers should
That's
be
listening
public
to people.
and uncensored. We'll create a new town hall team to enforce agreements with property developers, and no Labour councillor will accept gifts or expensive meals from property developers, because we must end the disgusting spectacle of politicians who get rich from property
Point of personal explanation, Mr Mayor, because I was mentioned
Former
a while
council
ago.
leader
Point of
Edward
personal
Lister.
explanation, Mr Mayor.
Go ahead.
Chamber privileges and all that, but I personally find it particularly insulting that the slurs that Councillor Hogg is throwing around, that we're all in the pockets of developers and taking free meals and whatever, is, I don't think I've heard as much as a cup of coffee. So I think these spurious, random, easy to throw around allegations with absolutely no substance are a complete load of tosh.
Speeches. Thank you. Thank you. Made the point. Thank you. Councillor Hogg, continue.
So I was talking about the conduct of Labour councillors, but since he asks for examples, former council leader Edward Lister recently had to leave his role at the heart of government after the exposure of rampant conflicts of interest. He approved £187 million in taxpayer-backed loans to a luxury property developer, which was paying him on the side. There's some evidence for you. He was also trusted by the British government
evidence, or is that
to broker
hearsay,
a
Councillor
deal
Hogg?
for a new Chinese embassy. Turns out he was being paid not only by the seller, but also by the buyer, which is nice work if you can get it.
Can you substantiate those other than things that are just written in the press, Councillor Hogg?
And make sure that the benefits of development go to the many and not to the few. Local people will be given first dibs on new homes built in their neighbourhood. We'll review Cllr and neighbourhood infrastructure
Will he take an
policies
intervention?
to make sure all neighbourhoods benefit.
Will he take an intervention?
That's our visit. That's our vision. It's rooted in fairness and in common sense. And I'm delighted that this evening we're welcoming Councillor Tony Belton as our speaker on strategic planning, and he'll explain more of this agenda in the coming weeks. So, as I say, we welcome investment and development, and we believe in the growth and prosperity of Wandsworth. Partners will find us energetic, ambitious, and open to new ideas. But only Labour can
You won't actually get
safeguard
anything
our
built.
borough from a Tory administration that is mesmerised by money and always sides with property developers. Our experienced team will work tirelessly to protect our beautiful borough and to keep Wandsworth special. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Cllr Govindia.
Mr. Mayor, one thing I've learned is that when you decant a Duff bottle of wine, it still remains Duff. The bottle may be new, the decanter may be fresh, but the wine is Duff. And that's exactly what we heard from Councillor Hogg. New approach to planning, my arse. If I may say also, Mr. Mayor, that, being Christmas, we are obviously resurrecting ghosts of Christmas past, but frankly, this council has no interest in what happened before. We are looking forward, and that is exactly our approach. What councillors Chope, Beresford and Lister may have done when they were councillors in this council is a matter for them. What they do outside this council, once they've left it, it is a matter for them, and if Councillor Hogg is upset about it, he has other opportunities, other places to take it up. No point in sharing that slur all around us. And if he really wants to talk about the kind of friends that he's got, let me just say this. The Opportunity Area Framework for 9 Elms was launched by Ken Livingstone. Not by me, but by Ken Livingstone, when he was the Mayor for London. Desperate to try and get this site, this area that was not doing much off the ground. Of course, there was a change of morality, and the framework had to be changed, and the new mayor came on power. Steve Reed, just recently, the opposition spokesman on local government and community affairs, leader of Lambeth, sat around the table with me and Councillor Lister when he was leader of this council, actually doing business together to get this area moving forward, which is the partnership between Lambeth and Wandsworth, unheard of before, is still going strong because they understand what you don't understand, and you never will understand. Mr. Mayor, actually, if the tube extension was such a nonsense, let me just remind others across there. Ever since the power station was declared redundant and as a development site, the first cry that went from this council, and people out there with longer memories than mine will remember this, it was an area with very poor transport links, and the scale of development needed a public transport intervention, which the developer had to pay for. The fixed rail link from Victoria to Battersea Park Station was built into the first application. It wasn't a tube extension, it was a fixed rail link. It was paid for by the developer. Well, he never did, because he never got off the ground. There were 30 years of no development there, and that is of no interest of the residents of this borough or the economy of this city. You need to reflect that land as valuable as that in the heart of London, sitting there doing nothing for 3 decades, is actually a drain on the public purse. That is the reality, and if you think that you have a new way to look at planning, well, I think nothing will happen. That is what the lesson of the past has been. Mr. Mayor, even Mayor Khan's embraced the change. I know he was not very keen on it, but he has embraced it, and I hear that, in fact, his favourite choir in London is now the Battersea Power Station choir. That's what he said when he was at the Trafalgar Square Christmas launch. Mr. Mayor, the other canard that was mentioned was that we've sold public land. Well, the truth is, Wandsworth Council owned very, very little public land. I can only think of one primary school that was closed, which is now occupied by a block called Viridian. Everything else was not Wandsworth Council's land. And so the idea that this was our land and we have let other people build on it is a complete nonsense. We were the planning authority. We have facilitated development just as we should and every planning authority should do. And actually, Mr. Mayor, This idea that this is the only place in London where development's happening and tall towers are being built, again, they need to look at themselves and they look at their party. Go around anywhere, Brent, Ealing, Southwark, Newham, God knows, wherever. The idea is that if the mayor wants development, which he does, and if he wants buildings built, which he does, developers are going to do it because he hasn't got any land or money to do it. And in fact, what happens is, and he gives permission, and he gives them taller permission, just around the corner, just around the corner. He said, build it taller. So none of this kind of false and confected anger. The truth is, this is a success story putting Battersea on the map, indeed the world map, and you should be proud of it rather than sneer at it.